to the Australian Championship.
Shot up the post and in. Continue to make history.
This rivalry burns as bright as ever.
That is a spectacular, it's incredible fairy tale.
Is there a miracle brewing in Wollongong? That's very much the question for the healthy crowd making their way into Collegians this afternoon. They're Wolves hosting the Marconi Stallions in the back end of our doubleheader this afternoon on SBS. Two storied clubs who've had exciting stories weaved through their three clashes already this season. Will there be a most dramatic crescendo? Or will things be a little more routine for the visiting Stallions, who won convincingly in the return fixture 3 weeks ago? It'll take a dramatic drop for them to lose their place in the quarterfinals, but perhaps more conceivably than Wolves' dream scenario, a win here for the visitors would put pressure on Heidelberg to take all 3 points at Darcy Street tomorrow and secure a home quarterfinal of their own. That's what's on the line this afternoon. Healthy crowd in under overcast skies. A little bit of rain starting to make its way down into the Illawarra as well. And time for us, for the first time, to go down to the sideline where Adrian Archuli is waiting for us.
Crowd is building nicely down here at the Collegian Sports Centre for a game the Wollongong Wolves simply must win. They must win by 6 goals to complete a miracle and get through to the quarterfinals. The crowd is building very nicely despite some dark clouds hanging overhead. We hope it doesn't rain, but let's hope it rains goals on the field. And I've got some kids here from Shillarbah Junior Football Club. And guys, who are you cheering for today?
Wollongong Wolves.
Okay, can we get a 3, 2, 1, Wolves?
Wolves.
Now, remember, vote in the poll, scan the QR code now and vote on who you think is going to win today.
And we'll be updating that all afternoon for you. You can see the two teams coming together. Let's see how they both line up to try and get the 3 points this afternoon. For Wollongong, 3 changes for Luke Wilkshire in pursuit of those 6 goals needed. Flynn Madden and Seb Hernandez called in for their second starts of this championship, with 20-year-old Seb Duarte in for his first. Star signing Kazuya Yamamura in reserve for the hosts should they need him on the bench in the chase for a quarter-final place late on. And for Marconi, just 1 change all tournament to this point, but 5 today with a quarter-final spot all but locked up. Anton Lonaric and George Daniel rested, having already picked up 2 yellow cards and at risk of suspension. Also an afternoon off for Will Akio, who's carrying a knock. Marco Jesic and Franco Meyer available in reserve if needed. Brandon Vella, Jake True, Mate Busek and Jordy Swibble will get their first starts of the competition, with Taz Murtakudis also restored in the heart of defence. There are the visitors who claimed a 3-0 win at Marconi Stadium with the help of a red card to Harrison Bunel before the break. Bunel only listed on the bench today for the Wolves. He hasn't seen the starting lineup since. Peter Sekenis has led this team through a promotion, a Waratah Cup, a championship in his 8 seasons in charge at Marconi. A last hit out before leading them into one more stage of knockout football, this time in the new era of the Australian Championship. There are the Wolves. They'll need to pull off a miracle. There was some conversation amongst the Wolf Den and their active support about the last time a big game involving them took 6 goals, a 3-3 draw after trailing 3-0 in the 2001 NSL Grand Final. They would go on to win by 7 goals to 6 on penalties at Subiaco against the Perth Glory. And there's Luke Wilkshire, his 6th game back in charge of the Wolves, and it hasn't quite gone to plan. There has been steady improvement over the course of the campaign. A good idea of what he'll need to do to recapture the premiership glory of 2019 next season. Our referee is Eric Sabat, familiar to both these combatants. There's most of his refereeing in the New South Wales National Premier League competition. And we are all set. A windy and a little bit wet Collegians greeting the 2 sets of players, and we are underway Alex Vecchio said during the week that Wollongong were playing with nothing to lose. That should lend the game to an attacking, entertaining afternoon. David Perkovic, good afternoon to you, buddy.
Good afternoon. Really looking forward to this game. Interesting game here, and already a small win for Wollongong Wolves, who obviously have to start the game well. They've got the wins against their back, so encouraging sign for them, no doubt, before a ball has been kicked.
How are they setting themselves up today, Perko? They know the scale of the task. It's so unlikely, particularly against Marconi's most stingy defence, the best in New South Wales competition the last 2 years, the best in this championship so far. They've only copped the 2 to this point. What would be the message to that group of players? I'll continue with that question after Sep Hernandez nearly made his way onto the end of that ball. What can you do as a coach in this situation? It's just about instilling belief.
Absolutely. It's interesting lineup for Wollongong Wolves. I expected Olsen to play alongside Lockie Scott, which has happened for most of the season, but it seems to be Hernandez. Maybe they want to use his speed to try and get him behind the Marconi defence, and Olsen cutting in onto his left foot from that right side.
We've seen him do effectively. He's played both positions and won the Player of the Year in the New South Wales competition over the course of 2025. Here is Lockie Scott, the long-time captain, part of Wiltshire's National Premier League's winning finals team back in 2019. One of only 2 still at the club. The other, Thomas James, Wollongong are without again today. He'd miss a potential quarterfinal as well, was handed a retrospective 4-game ban for the little incident with Anton Mlinaric back in round 3 of this championship. And we saw the setup of Marconi in the team list that we had handed in. What are you seeing, Perko? Have they changed a few things from what was listed up on your screens pre-game?
Yeah, interestingly, Griffith is, as I expected, partnering up with Taz Mudarukas. Bayless going into left fullback. Bernie holding down his traditional right fullback role, and Vella joining Van der Sarg in the pivot roles.
So 1 or 2 to keep an eye on there. James Bayless, who was used in that position for most of the start of his life at the club after signing on from the Central Coast Mariners Academy, deployed there again today. There's a stiff breeze blowing across towards James Hilton's goal. And this in-swinging corner from Nick Olsen is going to be rather tricky to deal with. If he does get his radar right, he hasn't quite managed to do that. Hilton and Griffiths both happy to watch the ball fly behind. Taking the ball short with Tyrone Burney. Expecting Marconi to come with a flurry as well today. Knowing a win put them in a position to avoid travelling next week. It's probably the longest trip in the competition, or the shortest that they've got potentially facing them. Apia and Bayswater facing off for the top spot in Group D tomorrow. What should be a very entertaining clash. I'd rather be hosting that quarter-final if they can put themselves in that position with a win today. But an early chance here for Hernandez, who got the wrong side of the defence, but his touch let him down. James Hilton alive to the danger. Already, Wollongong looking to go as direct as possible in these early stages.
Really liked Olsen coming into midfield there, creating an overload, getting on the ball, playing a forward pass to Hernandez. Just couldn't get that first touch right.
True lets fly. His less favoured left foot. First start of the championship for Jake True today. He's one of the ever-presents in Marconi's early season. And they went on that impressive unbeaten run to start the New South Wales competition before injuries hit and the wind was taken out of their sails. Unsurprisingly, Wollongong throwing numbers forward almost with reckless abandon here. Madden trying to link up with Lockie Scott, just slightly on different pages that time. And 2 of the goal-scoring threats for them in this championship. And getting a goal a few weeks ago, Lockie Scott is Wollongong's leading scorer with 3 in this campaign. Limited by injury during the New South Wales League season. Low return for him of just 8, but part of that because of his time out of the team. Scored a hat-trick against Marconi at Marconi Stadium in their opening fixture of the 3 they've played this season. Ended that unbeaten run I was just speaking about for the Stallions at the start of their campaign. Brandon Vella restored to the centre of midfield today. The longest tenured Stallion at the football club at the moment. Hasn't seen too much of the pitch so far in this Australian Championship. It's been hard to get in the team, and that must be an interesting one to manage for Peter Sekenes as well. We saw that ball hang up in the wind from Hilton's clearance. Griffiths stretching to get a leg back there, but the danger's not quite been averted yet. Damien Sekenes all the way back there, lending a helping hand and dribbling the ball clear of danger.
Yeah, as we saw that really strong breeze.
Scott gets off the shoulder, just didn't quite time his run.
Really strong breeze behind Wollongong's back is going to really aid their willingness to get forward, because they obviously have a mountain to climb in terms of a result today. But if they can get a few early goals, it'll definitely worry Marconi. But they need to take advantage of this very strong breeze.
It's going to be more difficult in the second half. Luke Wiltshire, speaking to Adrian Arciuli pre-game, wanted 3 goals before half-time. He might need a few more than that. And the test is keeping them out at the other end as well. Tate Russell did a nice job just easing Swivel off that ball as he looked to latch onto it at the edge of the penalty area.
The real benefit going with the breeze in the first half is that it's not guaranteed to be as strong in the second half. So, like I said before, a ball has been kicked. There's been a small win for Wollongong Wolves. Marconi, no doubt, being the professional team that they are, they'll just try to weather a little bit of the storm that Wollongong will try to throw at them. And try and...
That's a decent ball in. It almost reached Bernie at the back post. Bayless swinging that one in from a deep position. Massimo Vecchio trying to get his team out in transition. And Griffiths happy to hold that up with a, shall we call it an experienced free kick. Not allowing Hernandez to turn and really launch Wollongong on the counter. Kenneth the furthest forward from the press. Looks to be a little bit of fluidity about the way that Marconi have set up their team today. Madden through the centre of the park again. Got his goal a couple of weeks ago. That's a lovely touch from Scott, and the reverse pass from Olsen wasn't bad either. Hernandez in a shooting position. Touch just took him a little wide. Scott trying to roll Vella. He's done that. He was looking for some support, which never came, on the edge of the penalty area, and now it's Van der Sarg. This is turning into a basketball match very quickly in the early stages. Both teams wanting to go forward early, knowing how important the opening goal of this game could be in setting its complexion. Nice touch from Tate Russell inside for Danzo. And then Massimo Vecchio and Madden just getting their wires crossed there as they look to play smartly through midfield. Things up was Van der Sarg. Look at that hold up in the wind for Damien Sekenes. Right on the money. Well cleaned up by Kanaizumi. Experienced Wolves defender. Hasn't missed a start in this championship.
Two teams just trying to figure it out so far. The wind is definitely throwing them off their normal game. So the experienced two teams just trying to get their grasp on how to tackle it.
Russell using his pace to in front of Mate Busek there. Nice touch from Van der Sarg. Continues onto the football. True trying to play a little 1-2 with Swivel, who's got there ahead of Solski, and the penalty appeal is waved away by referee Eric Saba. Swivel stayed down in a heap on the deck, and now play is stopped to get an assessment of a potential head injury. Well, what an opportunity that almost turned into. The wind playing its part again as the ball was lobbed in behind. Did Solski get there in time? Very difficult to tell from that angle. This one might give us a better idea. Did Swivel get there first? Right on the ball. very good decision from my eye, David Perkovic.
Definitely timed it really well. Got there just in time. There might have been a little bit of contact with Swivel, but definitely got the ball first, and yeah, looked like it came off the fist onto Swivel's head, unfortunately, and that's just part and parcel of a contact sport. But yeah, really good goalkeeping there. You had to be brave there in that situation. Going a goal down this early would have been really detrimental to their aims for this game.
Well, a first big moment. It's been a rapid start to this one. How are you seeing it down on the touchline amongst the wind, Adrian Archuli?
Yeah, pretty interesting this one so far. The Wolves have started most of their games in this championship pretty well. It's generally what's happened after the first 15 minutes that's let them down. Against Heidelberg here, obviously they got the first goal last week against Heidelberg, and against when they played Heidelberg at the start, and when they played South Hobart, they came out of the blocks, and then they sort of just, it's the second half of the first half that lets them down. But yeah, if anyone remembers playing the old PlayStation, it's the old L1X move where you pass the ball and you run. And that's pretty much been the Wolves' start. Everyone passes the ball, runs, and they're keeping three forward pretty much every time Marconi goes forward. Perko, as a coach, you'd probably tell your boys this is what you call a 2 to 3 goal wind. It is absolutely blowing a gale, and the ball just holds up anytime you kick it in the air. So it'll be interesting. It's kind of actually really interesting to see how they've adapted to these conditions.
Madden's through, and the save is made. Scott gets there on the rebound and tucks it home. Well, haven't we got a little bit to watch now down at Collegians? Marconi getting a taste of their own medicine. The ball fed in behind, and despite Hilton's best efforts, he's not able to keep out the rebound. Scott has his fourth of the year, and the first of what he hopes is a glut this afternoon.
As you can see, the wind playing a massive factor in this game so far. As Adrian articulated, it's a 2 to 3 goal buffer, and this is exactly what the Wollongong Wolves needed. A nice early goal to set themselves up and create a little bit of uncomfortableness in the stomachs of Marconi players and fans and coaches alike.
This must be an even more difficult watch now for Peter Sekenis, given all the changes. His team could hit straight back here, though, through Jake True against his former side. Tucking inside his former teammate, Dylan Ryan. Just losing his footing at the vital moment. Can't keep your eyes off this in the opening 13 minutes or so. Busek, face to face with Tate Russell. Now Van der Sarg has controlled whatever tempo there has been to this game so far. Vella for Bernie. Facing up to Masio Vecchio. It's probably deeper than he wants to be. Sekenis. This is better from Marconi. Lovely little intricate play, and it allows a shooting opportunity for True. Solski went very close to making a mess of it and has a firm foot on the ground, suggesting it wasn't quite all his fault. Did well to react.
Jake True would have loved a goal against his former club. He had an opportunity on his left foot there. Just didn't get a hold of it as much as he would have liked, but still troubled the goalkeeper, Solski, a little bit. But thankfully to the fans that's in presence today, the goal didn't come to fruition.
5th goal in 3 games for Nicky Scott to start this campaign. Van der Sarg, didn't he catch that sweetly? Damien Sekenis, unfortunately, playing defender. Wrong place, wrong time. Not dead yet, though. Griffiths was looking for the enterprising pass. Perhaps a little bit ambitious, given the amount of red bodies between he and the intended target, Sekenis. Not sure how long Wollongong will be looking to slow the tempo in this game. And that wind has caught out Bayless again. Russell's in behind, or it was Hernandez, in fact. Eventually swept away by Tyrone Burney. Well, is this going to force an adjustment, Perko? Because we know how much Marconi loved to press. Those long balls are catching them out at the back of the minute. Madden darting in between defenders. And eventually Burney able to stretch his legs and make his way clear.
It's quite an open game so far. Wollongong Wolves leaving virtually Lockie Scott, Hernandez and Olsen up top. Just looking for those transition moments if they can hurt him in behind. The challenge is for Marconi, they can't drop off too much with the attack still pressing, because then that creates a huge hole in between the lines of defence, which then Lockie Scott comes into the forte. He can hold up the ball, play off, and then hurt him behind.
Seb Duarte getting forward. Scott's managed to keep that ball in play. Fortunately, from a Wolves perspective, it was to the advantage of TJ Burney. He's able to double up and just try and play his way out of trouble. We expected a game that was going to be a little bit different to some of the others we've seen in this championship. It's living up to the billing in the opening 15 minutes. And Luke Wilkshire, although he's not showing it, must be happier than not with the way that this game has started. Wollongong finally getting some early rewards. Adrian Archuli telling us about how well they've started most of their games in this championship. Rarely, though, have they been able to get a goal in the opening moments. They did manage to do that last weekend against Heidelberg. Set them up for the 2-2 draw. Managed to do it again today.
Wollongong should be definitely encouraged to press high against this win, because it's going to be very, very hard for Marconi to play directly in behind the Wollongong defence, as the ball will get held up in the wind. So no doubt Wilshere would have been talking to the players before the game.
True, darting in to win the ball in midfield for his team. Gets it back off Griffiths. Now Bayless looking to deliver on that left foot. Ryan only as far as Vela. And this might fall for True. Kanizumi almost defending two by himself there. Managing to see off the threat of Sekenis, and True was trying to dart in behind. Mudakudis going the aerial route. This one's fallen for Sekenis, at least it appeared it was about to. Kanozumi almost drawing him into the 50-50 and then going in very firmly indeed. Sekenis is not exactly delighted about the treatment that he was receiving there. Looked pretty fair from where we're sitting. Great to see another good crowd in at Wollongong again today. This temporary home venue for them across this championship. Only a 5-minute drive from one of their usual homes, Wynn Stadium, down in Fig Tree. Facility that was thought to have been built for football before it's changed hands to the Collegians Rugby League Club.
Danzo dictating the football in the middle of the park. Very, very intelligent footballer. No doubt will be able to thread some passes through to make some key passes and penetration passes into the Wollongong's forward line.
Zumi giving away the free kick there in an area you were talking about, Perko. You probably don't want them fouling in those sort of situations today, given how difficult it is going to be to make up a half of the field playing against such a strong breeze. We don't want to harp on about it too much, but it really is influencing the lay of the land in this game. And another potential head injury. Eric Saba stopping to check on Tasmurda Kudis this time.
Whilst you don't want to give away too many fouls, Wollongong definitely do need to be aggressive, not let Marconi settle. They've already got the wings in their faces with Marconi, so Wollongong Wolves will definitely want to make sure that Marconi don't have too much time and space on the ball, and if at some consequence at times you give away some fouls, then albeit, but you don't want to definitely be sitting off them.
See if the opening 19 minutes or so has changed what the fans are thinking in terms of who will win. Just saw it flash up there for a moment. There it is, 50-50, right on, split down the middle at the moment. Good to see a little bit of blue in the crowd as well. Some Marconi fans have made their way not too far down south from their base in Bosley Park.
And good to see so many new jerseys of Marconi in the crowd.
That's
Bit nostalgic, the design.
Must bring back some memories for you watching the NSL 90s.
Absolutely, seeing the legends of Marconi wear that strip. Brad Maloney, Andy Harper and the likes donning the jersey. Great for Marconi to bring back that retro jersey. I love it. It's fantastic.
Smirtakoutis just down, going through some concussion testing by the looks here. Did take a real thump from the football from very close range. Good to see the doctor just making sure he's right with this. I should mention, one of the Marconi connections, Alex Broska's got another nephew who's stung into a starting lineup around Australian football. Young Seb Duarte picked by Luke Wilkshire today. His brother Nico obviously playing with the Central Coast Mariners in the A-League men's at the moment, but taking on his uncle's former club today, the Wollongong left back. Nice little family connection there. Smirtakoutis is going to make his way off.
I think we'll see him back onto the field. It doesn't look like there's too much activity on the Marconi bench.
Well, they'll certainly be hoping so. They're not carrying too much in the way of cover there. Alex Jurisic would be the obvious player to be brought on. Since his return to the club, he's only started one match, which was their round 30 clash against the Sutherland Sharks, where they were already set in their position.
He's come back from a horrible ACL injury, but also Brendan Velikan has played in that central defensive role this season, so he can definitely move into that role if needed.
Been an attacking sub being thought about for Peter Sikanis rather. Duarte was ducking in to try and win that ball off True. He was strong enough to ride the challenge. Bayless, couple in support. He might look to do it all himself here and get the cross in. Good enough to win an attacking throw.
Can't imagine it's going to be a long throw in this wind, but maybe something in short and try to keep the ball up the field. They haven't had much joy or time in this area of the pitch, Marconi.
Van der Sar hoisting another one in. True's been lively early. Sikanis had half a swing. Swivel. A lot of scrappy stuff like that around the edge of the Marconi penalty area, which has given Scott the chance to run. Marcio Vecchio takes up the attack. They're 4-on-1 here, Wollongong. Hernandez took an air swing at the vital moment. And Smirtakoutis across in cover. Fresh after that check on his health, he was thrust straight back into the heart of the action, and you can see what Seb Hernandez thinks of his own effort there.
Huge opportunity missed by Wollongong here. I think Marcio Vecchio's taken the wrong option here. Probably should have played it to his right side where he had Olsen and someone else, I believe maybe even Lockie Scott, that was running through. But yeah, huge opportunity missed.
Still might not be clear of danger here, Marconi. Hernandez has a chance for another crack, dummied instead. Olsen, a lot of blue bodies back there to cover. Hernandez again. Griffiths away this time. Just trying to batter their way through Wollongong, and now they're exposed down the other end. Sikanis, joined by a couple of seagulls, but not too many blue shirts. Eventually they begin to arrive. Duarte, only as far as Van der Sar, and then he made the secondary sweeping cover as well. Gee, this has been, in a vacuum, a very exciting games to watch, just because of the amount of opportunities we're getting up both ends. Marconi just settling the tempo for a moment as they go searching for the equaliser. Quarter of the way through this game. Sikanis taking another kick and going down. All fair, said Eric Saba. Back to his feet and recycling possession with Vela. And now Bernie loves to get forward from right full back. Wide for Busek. Those dancing feet. Not the cleanest strike though with his left foot. And the ball actually ended up going out for a throw. A moment that he was looking for. Got a goal off the bench last weekend, Mate Busek. He's been a handy substitute for Peter Sikanis over the course of the season. Wasn't his best work. Scott for Hernandez. He's looking to make the right decision this time. He's got the beating of Lockie Griffiths. Can he finish? Pulls it the wrong side of the post after a lovely bit of skill to beat Marconi's centre half. But he just can't find the right side of the post at the moment, Seb Hernandez. So the opportunity there from Busek. But Griffiths, who doesn't get beaten in those one-on-ones too often, was that time.
This time he's taken the right decision. Unfortunately, the execution wasn't quite what was needed. But another chance for Wollongong to get another goal in front. Goes past, but it will definitely encouraging sides for the Wolves.
Kenneth giving Kanaizumi a big shove as the ball came towards them. Letting the players play.
Surprising that's not a foul.
And Marconi have possession in a promising area as a result. Van der Sar for Bayliss. And there's a line of blue shirts. Busek swung his left at it. That was a cleaner connection. Still slipping the wrong side of Daniel Solski's post. It's been a mile a minute. Start to this game. Neither team looks to have settled completely. Just trying to make the best out of every opportunity that comes their way. That was a better challenge from Griffiths. As Scott looked to turn. Busek's got the beating of Duarte into the area. Thought he was having his shirt pulled. He's could have battled on there and tried to deliver the ball. And again, Massimo Vecchio goes down looking for the whistle. He's not rewarding players who do that, is he? Referee Eric Saba wants to keep this game flowing. It's provided very entertaining fare for us. This time Scott's trip on Griffiths is pulled up. And Marconi take it quickly.
Rightfully so. Scott arguing with the referee, saying it's virtually the same incident that happened 15 seconds earlier. But Marconi on the attack here.
Fella just getting his wires crossed with Swivel, and as they've done all afternoon so far, Wollongong go quickly in transition. Hernandez again not able to pick out Olsen. Just getting the opportunities. It's just been the execution lacking for Wollongong in their attacking third of the pitch so far. True. Lovely turn. Sees off Kanaizumi. Good piece of defending from Russell. Just as though he was alongside of Geordie Swivel for just a moment. Hernandez heading out of play.
Just feel like Marconi can take the sting out of the game a little bit. They're looking to counter-attack at every moment they get possession, but sometimes I just feel like they should hold on to the ball a little bit longer just to kill off the hopes of Wollongong Wolves. If you maintain possession, there's nothing worse than what Wollongong would want at the moment, is not having the ball. So if you can hold on to the pass, a few more passes, 3-4 more passes in possession, that will just give them a little bit more time to settle into the game.
Peter Saketis doesn't look particularly impressed by what he's seen in the opening 20 minutes or so. Been very critical of his team's execution of attacking plans in the final third of the pitch over the course of the championship. There's been very little to complain about defensively. As we mentioned, that goal they conceded from Lockie Scott in 13 minutes, just the third of the campaign that James Hilton has let go past him. And now Harry van der Sar is down. Mate Busek is over holding his side as well. None of this particularly promising for Marconi. You've got players falling like flies ahead of this potential quarter-final. This is exactly what Peter Sakenis was looking to avoid with the changes he made coming into the game today. Might be losing a little bit of depth.
Looks like to be a potential shoulder issue for Busek, or collarbone. Hopefully nothing too serious.
Let's have a look at the incident.
Looks like probably just impact on the ground. Just how he fell. It fell heavily on that shoulder there.
Went flying into that challenge, didn't he? No lack of effort, getting a rare opportunity to start today. 4 substitute appearances over the course of this championship so far. Just 13 starts over the course of the New South Wales League season. 32 appearances, and a thumbs up there from the physio, which is hopefully a good sign. Adrian, has there been any slowing to the tempo down there, or is it as frantic as it looks for us up here?
Yeah, that's the best way to sum it up. Pretty frantic. It's quite a fascinating game to watch tactically as well, because Marconi is still trying to press as well, but it's just creating this classic situation where they're just leaving like 4-on-2 situations for the Wolves to expose. And realistically, Hernandez has had 3 pretty good sights of goal, and he could easily be 4-0 here on another day. So really fascinating to see. But I think this breeze will play a massive, what's to say, is another chance goes close. Every time you cross to me, guys, it's like a goal's going to fly in. But it's really interesting to see how the Wolves can approach the second half, because if they get another one here, it sets it up. But if the wind stays up like this, Marconi, it'd be really interesting to see how they approach it, because they'll have this massive breeze. And very interesting. I just think there's a lot to play out. We've got 15 minutes before the half time. Let's see we see some more goals. The rain stopped, but let's hope the goals keep raining in.
Well said. Thank you, Adrian. And Marconi are hoping that they can get an equaliser before the break, just to give themselves a little bit of breathing room in terms of trying to put some pressure on Heidelberg tomorrow. They need to win this game to have a chance at finishing first in the group. So that ball's played over the top, and Swibble's got nobody near him. Went near post to try and beat Solskjaer, who stood up nicely at his near post. He's a goalkeeper who's been busy in the last 5 minutes, but he stood up to the task again.
Evaded the flag there, Swibble. Had a really good chance here to equalise, but it was a tight angle, and it looked like there was a few Wollongong players in the pathway to cut that ball across, so probably taken the right option there. They've now won a corner, another opportunity to have another attack on goal, but this ball I expect to hold up in the air.
Bayless swinging in towards Solskjaer, and True was closest to it. Didn't make clean contact. Bayless will get a second bite. Almost went for goal himself. Perhaps trying to pick out Sekenis at the back post. Just done a little bit too much whip on that one. He's got a terrific left foot, James Bayless. Such a weapon from set-piece opportunities for the Stallions. Olsen's touch over the top has invited Scott onto it. Between Vella and Griffiths, they sort out the danger. Ryan heading safely back for Russell. Now Madden. Marconi looked to have adjusted and just given themselves a little bit more room in terms of Wollongong trying to play balls over the top and in behind. Hernandez is still the outlet on the right-hand side. Former Bulls Academy player. How's this cross? It's not bad. Held up in the wind a little. Vella across in front of Lockie Scott to clear the danger. Good piece of play from Russell, just to keep Marconi parked in their own half for the moment. Olsen taking to the air again. Scott was in an offside position and would have done well to make anything of that in any case.
Game's starting to slow down a little bit here. This is not what Wollongong Wolves would have wanted. They definitely need another goal to give them a little bit of a spark, give them a little bit of hope. It's a tale of two tales here. Wollongong's missed opportunities and lack of decision making and being clinical in that final third, and then Marconi's lack of protection of their back four in transition. Often you see once they go forward, neither Van der Sag or Vella is holding that midfield, which is allowing the counter-attacks to be fruitioned for Wollongong Wolves.
It's interesting, all those changes that Peter Sekenis has made for this game, a team that has been so consistent over the course of the 2025 season. It's obviously sometimes been harder to make their way out of the sides, barring injury rather than getting into it. Madden takes on Murtakudis and is clever enough to win his side an attacking corner. 10 minutes to go in this first half. Lachlan Scott's goal on 13 minutes, all that separates the two teams at this stage. Wollongong needing a 6-goal victory to jump Marconi into the quarterfinal spots.
Their second corner, an in-swinger, Scott on the keeper.
There's the plan. How's it executed? Not badly. Ryan was crashing very late. Ball evaded him. Danzo keeps the attack alive. Olsen in the position he loves. Returns the ball to Danzo. And the flag was up.
Just like those corners, both corners for Wolves so far has been a little bit overhit in these conditions. Would like to see it sit right on top of Hilton, let it swing into him with Lockie Scott, big presence of a striker like he is, to give problems to any goalkeeper in the league. And then with the added environmental factors of the wind, will create a lot of problems for any defence in those set pieces.
This is going to be interesting for James Hilton, who's looking to go long from this free kick. He's managed to get good distance on that. Ryan winning the initial header. Olsen almost playing a blind pass there, expecting that someone would be running in behind. Wasn't the case.
The hard thing about the wind is even when you're playing with it, the weight of your pass can often be a little bit heavy, which takes it over the byline. But again, it's difficult for Marconi. So they'll be clearing the ball, and let's see if this one gets to manage to get over halfway.
Is the fact that they're not looking for Lockie Scott centrally as often as perhaps they usually do a product of the way that Marconi have approached this first half, or is it the fact that they've not been looking for him enough?
Yeah, look, I think it's a little bit of how the game has gone. So far, Wollongong's attacks, there's been a lot of space in behind, and then you've got Hernandez's speed to get in behind, which is not a bad idea. Sometimes you just like to play that short pass before you penetrate. Could be a better option at times.
Interesting to see if they can find him more as we go on. Let's have a look at what you're thinking at home about the complexion of this match. Fan poll telling us a bit of a swing Wollongong's favour after they've taken the lead. There's 3/4 of the audience thinking that they'll go on to win this one. You can have your say by scanning the QR code on screen now. Damien Sekenis is back with us again after copping another knock. He and Banri Kanizumi almost seem attached at the hip at the minute.
For Marconi, as much stoppages as possible work into their favour, just disrupt the rhythm of Wollongong Wolves and knowing the mountain that they have to climb.
Bernie, that's held up beautifully for him, and the ball's not bad. Sekenis bundled over, not enough for a penalty kick, says the referee. Quickly waved away the appeal, and Madanev sprung free with the football. Hernandez slipping at the vital moment. Bayless happy to crunch the ball clear. Stallions not looking too unhappy with the status quo at the moment. Be happy to go into the sheds just trailing by the 1 goal. Wolves could change that with a good cross too close to James Hilton from Matteo Vecchio.
One thing about Wollongong Wolves that I do like is Dylan Ryan playing as a left centre back. His more natural role. He looks pretty comfortable in that position. Duarte's ability to operate on that left side has been a good change by Luke Wilshere.
Almost as though you've spoken it into existence. Beautiful read. Scott for Hernandez. He just cannot buy one. Brilliant defending from Tas Murtakudis, who keeps Marconi just behind by that 1 goal. Heroic piece of defending. Hilton was beaten.
Once again, what an opportunity for Wolves to go further in front in this game. As Adrian mentioned earlier, it could be 3 or 4, potentially even 5 up if they've been more clinical in that final third.
And this would be the real sucker punch if Marconi can go down the other end and get one themselves. Sekenis into Ryan. Good piece of defending. And now the numbers are in Wollongong's favour again as they make their way forward. Madden for Olsen. He's just trying to hold him up and slow the attack, which he's managed to do. Still Olsen going with the ball, eventually scythed down by Brandon Vella. And the captain's armband today in the absence of Marko Jesic. And how about this?
Brilliant defending by Tas Murtakudis there. Just gets enough onto the post.
And there's a chance here as Matteo Vecchio made his way forward with the football. Marconi coming under siege late in the first half. Hernandez looking to return it to Russell. Fell to the feet of Marcio Vecchio. Again, there's a triumvirate of Marconi players around him who managed to clear the danger. Make sure they don't leave that ball short for Solski though. Sakinis happy to put the ball out of play. Kanaizumi. Wolves strike forward for one last time. Can they do it?
As we enter the last 5 minutes of normal time of the half, no doubt Wollongong Wolves would like to increase their lead as much as they can, at least by one, to give them some sort of hope in this second half.
Quite how they haven't is going to be one of the storylines that Josh Parrish and Scott McDonald will have to pick through at the half-time show. As that ball from Hernandez again fired in, blocked away by Griffiths. Ryan. Duarte. Nice turn from Seb Duarte. He's beaten a couple. And the delivery blocked off by Murder-Kudis in the nick of time before Bernie belts it out of play. Just quickly, Adrian Archuli, who's down on the sideline. Who of the two coaches has seemed happier about the way that this first half has transpired?
Well, it's definitely not Mr. Sakinis. There's been quite the remonstrations from Peter Pavlakis as well, the team manager, Flea. As he's known, it's not a happy bench over there at Marconi, because I'm no mathematician, but if I'm doing my own expected goals, I'd give Wolves about a 3.5 here. Dead sad. Sebastian Hernandez could have 4. Don't know how that didn't go in just before, but yeah, I think this has probably kind of summed up the what ifs for the Wolves campaign, really, because they've turned it on, and it's just I think that'll be the biggest takeaway, because it's going to be hard now to get 5 goals in this second half, especially going into the win, but really sort of kind of sums up their campaign in terms of what if in every game they've sort of played in. Yeah, it's really interesting, but yeah, definitely for Marconi, I think they'll be furious, because you know, if they go in, even if they lose 3-0, you're going into a quarter final. This is not how you want to go in, but I think they've just really been taken aback by A, the Wolves' approach, and B, the conditions. They've just really haven't known how to handle it, and it's just been really interesting. And obviously, missing a few key pieces as well, it's really shown in this first half. But I think they've maybe just seen through the danger period. If they can get through here without another goal, you'd be hard-pressed to cop 5 with the breeze they're going to have in this second half.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Thank you, Adrian. As James Bayliss has gone down a bit of a head knock, expecting that we're going to get a fair bit of added time at the end of this first half as well, just because of the amount of Marconi players that have needed treatment over the course of this first half. As the rain rejoins us, nothing
like it's coming a bit heavier now as well. Be interested to see how Luke Wilshere has been on the sideline. No doubt he would have been disappointed with happy that they've created a lot of chances, but disappointed that they haven't executed to put themselves in a better position.
Let's have a look at a chance for us to give you some of the highlights of last weekend, and the winner of our goal of the round voting went to Christian Satira. His fantastic second half strike for Metro Stars against Bayswater City that secured them a 2-0 win, and has kept them alive into the final day of the Australian Championship. It has absolutely opened up the heavens, hasn't it? In the stoppage that we've had for James Bayliss to receive treatment, the umbrellas are up. Crowd, thankfully, seem to have quite a bit of cover, but there are plenty ducking for the stands and the shelter. Goodness me, I hope Adrian's taken his umbrella down there to the sideline as well.
But another dimension to this game that both teams have to deal with.
For both of them. Well, for Marconi particularly, Wollongong obviously wanting to make up the deficit that they've got. 5 more goals needed to take them through to the quarterfinals, but for Marconi it might just be about getting through this 90 minutes without injuries and seeing their way through to whichever away fixture that befalls them next weekend. Given how everything has gone here today, has been the most testing of circumstances for them. Turned over by True to his former partner in crime up front. He and Lockie Scott formed quite the duo for Wollongong over a number of years as their strike partnership. going head to head there. And as we expected, 6 minutes indicated by fourth official Brodie Merchant to be added on at the end of this wild and woolly first half down in the Illawarra. And the Sark almost looking as though he was trying to shield his eyes from the rain as he helped to lob that ball over the top, which is held up pretty well. Amongst all of this, and it does look as though Marconi pretty set in their shape now to just see themselves through to half-time and regroup.
Yeah, they've definitely evaded further consequence to the opportunities they've let slide so far for Wolves, and they're just trying to slow down the game as much as possible to get to that half-time whistle and regroup and come out with a new sense of life and authority.
And Sarg has been trying to inject some of that life into the centre of their midfield. He's won his team a free kick there, just shy of the centre circle.
Obviously for Marconi, contending with these conditions with a lot of changes to the lineup as well is not always easy. It takes rhythm out of the side, makes it difficult, and added to this wind, rain, and an enthusiastic Wollongong Wolves side makes it difficult. But seems like they've weathered the storm, so to speak, so far. No pun intended with this heavy rain that's come in.
Well, I thought it was a fitting description, Perker, to be honest. Marcio Vecchio was trying to dart in there, not able to pick the ball up. Might be something for us to ponder on in the second half if things don't change, but Wollongong's record against Marconi this season has been very impressive indeed. Didn't lose to them during the league season, obviously put in the disappointing performance back in round 3 that saw them beaten 3-0 away, but did manage to win 3-0 earlier in the season. And Marconi have just let Danzo run off the shoulder again here. Chance for Nick Olsen, and he's scored the second. Wollongong dreaming of glory just before the break. Still a long way to go, but Olsen's first strike of this Australian Championship is a very timely one indeed.
Just as I mentioned, Marconi weathering the storm. Another opportunity here, but falling to, this time, Nick Olsen, who makes no mistake inside the box. Absolutely clinical with his left foot. Set up beautifully by Danzo. Do we have a game on?
We certainly do. That has just given the Wollongong fans a bit more belief, you feel. It's going to be down to Marconi to try and snuff out that hope, because it is going to see them meet a very resistant force in the second half. Heidelberg watching on smilingly at everything that has transpired over what has been a very, very unique half of football. Bayless trying to find their way out. A goal could really take the wind out of Wollongong's sails, but they've got the bit right between their teeth at the moment. Hernandez forward again, searching for Olsen. Ball just took him a bit wider than he wanted and couldn't reel it in before the byline came calling. But Marconi being exposed in those wide areas almost every time Wollongong think about an attack at the moment, Perko.
Yeah, it looks like Hernandez has switched roles with Olsen. Olsen coming into that second striker /10 role. Hernandez getting out wide, giving Bayless heaps of problems with his pace. It's almost what could have been at halftime if Wollongong Wolves had been more clinical. Whilst they're still in this game, it could have been a lot more different with the amount of chances they've created.
There could be a chance here for Marconi. Swivel knocks it just the wrong side of the post. Very inventive effort. Went with the toe poke. Solski left stranded as he looked to close the angle. And the Stallions were very close to silencing Collegians there.
Would have been a heartbreaker for Wolves there if Marconi and Swivel scored there.
I've still got a minute to find a goal back through Sekenis. Swivel again across the front. Kanaizumi doing the defending. And this has been an improved effort from their back four from what we've seen over the first 5 games of this championship, where they have been leaking goals. They're just spinning the wrong side of the post.
Have one more moment at least to contend with before half time. Seen the in-swinger from Bayless.
Plenty of bodies forward. Marconi not exactly throwing caution to the wind, but giving him plenty of targets. Ryan took 2-3 touches to clear. An athletic effort. Bayless and Masio Vecchio almost forgetting about the ball and just having it on with each other there. Decision goes in the Wolves' favour, which will just relieve a little bit of that pressure Marconi have built towards the end of the first half. Probably been their best 5 minutes or so of the match since copping the second goal. Oh, and Ryan with a very poor ball out. Bayless on his right foot. Ryan recovering in the nick of time. And Eric Saber brings a very entertaining half of football to a close. Nick Olsen gave the Wolves their second and has just given them a chance, a fighting chance, of claiming the 6 goals needed to jump Marconi and claim a quarter-final place. Lockie Scott got the scoring started after just 12 minutes, which had this healthy crowd at Collegians in full voice. They might have had a few more in between those two, but they'll be happy enough with the deuce going into the break. At half-time, it's Wollongong 2, Marconi 0.
Half-time at Collegians, and Wollongong Wolves have turned the impossible into merely the improbable in this second half. They need 6 against Marconi Stallions to overhaul that goal difference. But with 2 to their name already, and it really could have been more, a dominant display in front of their own fans. Where has this been the whole group stage, Scott?
Yeah, look, I think for Luke Wilkshire and his men, they'll be hugely disappointed with up to this point in the campaign to be where they are right now. But they're putting on a wonderful performance in what is, you would have to say, potentially a game or 2 halves. That wind is really, really strong, and it's took its toll against Marconi. And you have to say Marconi just haven't been really at the races today. Very, very slow. Look at Mordekudis' sort of recovery, none whatsoever. Really poor. Obviously, Hernandez with the first. No, it's actually Madden who takes the strike, and then Lockie Scott doing what he does well, obviously getting on the score sheet once again. But yeah, it's been pretty sloppy from Marconi's perspective defensively, mostly as well. The ball's going in behind, second balls dropping. They've not been first to many things today. But you have to give Wolves credit. They've been at the races right from the beginning, hungry to make, up in those goals. And this was a late goal just at the end there as well. Danzo making a late run in behind Griffiths, who was toiling a little bit late on in the half. And then obviously they get their goal and their rewards here. Finally, Olsen getting on the score sheet to make it 2. And it could be more than that. It's very fortunate, Marconi, at this point, that it still is only 2-0 and they've still got a comfortable buffer.
Well, Marko Jesic told us before the game it was all about attitude for them today. Have they turned up with the right attitude? Because the shot count doesn't tell the full story. Wollongong have been in time and time again. They've had 1 cleared off the line from Mudakudis. They could have 4 in this first half.
Yeah, they could quite clearly. They've had the better of the chances. On the other end, Swibbles had a couple of opportunities and looked dangerous. And you have to say Marconi are always going to be dangerous on the flip side of things. And if the wind does hold up in that second half, then I think they will create chances with the likes of him and Zakinis on the field. And then you've still got, obviously, Jesic to come on off the bench as well. So, they've got plenty of attacking array to come on and make the difference as well. So, look, the game's not over from them. But, Wolves to sneak another one early in the second half here, it's game on.
You're telling me there's a chance?
Well, potentially. You just never know in football. The mentality of it and how it sways and how nervous you get. It could end up being a barnstormer in the second half.
Well, they should be taking some inspiration from our Goal of the Week winner last week, Christian Satira of Metro Stars. How about this one? A must-win game for them against Bayswater City, and he picks one out of the top drawer.
Oh, it's just a wonderful effort, isn't it? As soon as it dropped, I think people take it for granted sometimes. He takes his first touch, but he waits for it. He's calm on it, and he waits for it to drop just perfectly. You see him sort of just stutter there to make sure he gets the proper connection, and then absolutely no chance for the keeper from there on in.
Let's rewind to match 1, which finished 1-1 between Avondale and Preston. Nick Dabano caught up with outgoing Preston head coach Louis Atsevsky after the game.
Here now with the coach of the Preston Lions, Louis Atsevsky. Louis, a hard-fought 90 minutes out there. Really, it was going end-to-end, particularly in that second half. How do you reflect on that game?
Yeah, I thought we were good first half. We came out second half, first 15 minutes, and credit to Avondale, they destroyed us. Ryan Scott was unbelievable, made maybe 4 really important saves, and we were bound to concede a goal, and we did. And then we sort of tried to get back in the game, and we scored one, and then we tried to throw everything at Avondale, but we wasn't to be, and finished as a draw.
What'd you put down to that sort of second half, second wind in a way? When Avondale, it seemed like a second goal was coming, but you guys were able to really get control. What do you put that down to?
Goals change games, and once we scored that goal, it gives you hope and belief and a bit of confidence, and that's what happens. Every time when you score first, it's that looking for that second goal or you equalise it, so on. That word or that sentence, goals change games, is, I know it's a cliche that we all live by in football, but that gives you the psychological edge to push either claw one back or try and score and win a game.
Louis, in a bit of a weird position now, points better than none, but you still have to wait until tomorrow to see if there is a next week. I guess, what's the plan for tomorrow? Just hunkering up on the couch and watching to see how that game goes?
I probably won't even watch it, to be honest. Let it be there. It's as I said to the boys, when someone else holds your future, you just you sit there and wait, and whatever the result finishes, it is what it is. Hopefully they have a good game out there. Hopefully they have a good 5-all game, and everybody's a winner.
Well, Louis, just want to say on behalf of the whole Victorian football community, thank you very much for the last 9 years. Hopefully we'll see you again next week on the touchline. But again, thank you so much for all you've done for Preston Lions and getting them back to the top flight. And hopefully we'll see you at Lakeside next week.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But most important is that we make the Lakeside next week and we go from there.
Thank you.
Itsevsky.
All good. Thank you.
Louis Itsevsky with Nick Debano. What a tenure he's had in charge of the club, and we might have one or more games to go. But let's take a short break because kickoff is coming up on the other side as Wollongong chase the impossible dream. They need 4 against Marconi in the second half. Stay tuned to see if they pull off one of the great turnarounds we've ever seen in Australian football.
Welcome back to Collegians Sports Centre. Well, as Josh Parrish said at half-time, the impossible has become the improbable. After Wollongong's 2 goals in the first half, it might have been more had they taken a few of their chances. Marconi yet to re-emerge for the second half, but I'm sure getting some stern words from Peter Sekenis given their first half performance. A highly rotated side, but one that has not performed to the standard they've set for themselves just yet. needing an improvement in the second half if they're to take a point, or the all three that they want to give themselves a chance to top the group, pending Heidelberg's result against South Hobart tomorrow. Well, that has left us with plenty of storylines. There's the coach whose team have given him just a sniff of quarterfinals football, Luke Wilkshire. Julio Miranda, his assistant, sat on the wooden chair next to him. And there's the two coaches that have needed to try and find some inspiration for their team come this second half. Just how quickly will the changes come, if any? Marko Jesic and Franco Maya, starters in every game to this point, available in reserve if needed. Well, the first half threw up plenty of surprises. We're expecting even more in the second. It is sitting just nicely for the chance of a miracle. Wollongong will come out with a head full of steam in the second 45 minutes as well. Let's just have a look at how the fans have seen things as this game has unfolded through the fan poll that you can get access to via the Australian Championship website or via the QR code that's just flashed up on the screen. Actually been a couple of percent move back to Marconi's favour. That's still Wollongong the heavy favourites heading into the second period.
I think some of the people, the fans voting, understand the impact of the wind, so probably thinking Marconi can get back into this game.
Well, that's the other storyline we could get, is whether Marconi are able to make up the deficit and run out 3-2 winners. Alex Molchanoff and David Perkovic in commentary with you in the Illawarra today. Saw 4 seasons sweep across Collegians over the first 45 minutes. The sunshine is back out. Who knows what we're going to see over the preceding minutes. Tasmurda Kudis and Lachlan Griffiths starting together in the heart of defence and have not quite looked at ease at any point through the first half. Lachlan Scott and Brandon Vella just sharing a word, two combatants who have seen plenty of one another down the years, sharing a friendly word. Eric Saba tossing away the unnecessary football. Lachlan Scott's ready to go. Wollongong don't want to lose any momentum whatsoever that they picked up in that first half. The Wollongong skipper with his 4th goal of the championships, which got his team off to the bright start they wanted. Marconi's conceded goals tally has doubled in 45 minutes of football. Previously only conceded to Heidelberg in the 2 clashes they played against them. On both occasions it was just a solitary goal that got past James Hilton. Wollongong need to fire 4 more past him in the second half, and we are underway. Lockie Scott's playing it back to Isaac Danzo. Well, can they do it, Perko? I guess is the question that I'll ask to start this second half.
The first critical part is going to be this for both teams, is this first 10 minutes. Who's going to get a foothold of the game in this initial periods? It's either going to stay the way of Wollongong Wolves, or will the wind have as much of an impact as we probably thought it had and sway Marconi back into favour? But no doubt for the Wolves fans and the neutrals, they would want to see Wollongong continue their good form from their first half into the second half and create a few more chances and hopefully get a couple of more goals to make this game very exciting indeed.
Peter Sekenis has resisted the temptation to make any changes at the break. Rolled up the same 11 and see if they can turn the tide themselves at the start of this second half. Vella's on the football, turning it to Mate Busek. Let's flip back out to that left wing to start this second half. Bernie. This has been the scoring end of Collegians so far today. True. Darting away from his defender, slipping as he struck it. And the ball ending up in the grateful gloves of Daniel Solsky.
Already much better from Marconi, being a little bit more patient on the ball.
Good block from Griffiths as Olsen looked to get his side jetting forward. Busek takes up the attack, got his ball forward wrong, and down goes Kanaizumi. First free kick of the second half goes Wollongong's way. A chance for us to check in quickly with Adrian Archuli. What was the message coming from the two coaches as they walked out of the sheds. Adrian?
Well, it was quite interesting. I actually spoke to Lockie Scott. We had a good laugh about that first half because it was it was just very unusual, obviously, with the amount of chances and the situation and the wind. Then it rained. You know, it was like a 5-day cricket test. It was all that happened in 45 minutes. But quite interesting. Obviously, Marconi took a long time to come out of the sheds. Like left it right until the last second, and you could probably understand why. There would have been some harsh words in there because. Yeah, as I said, they could have been 4 or 5-0 down in another day if the chances went in for Wollongong. The wind's still quite strong. The rain looks like it's over for the day. It looks like the storm, just looking at the radar. You can do my best Tim Bailey impersonation. But the radar looks like the storm. There was another storm due it's going to go over as another chance.
Hernandez is in behind, he's made it 3! Wollongong are right at the races for the quarterfinals. Hernandez finally gets his goal, his first since back in February. His only strike of the New South Wales League season. This one might end up being a lot more memorable. So Wollongong are at base camp. They're halfway up the mountain. 6 goals needed. They've got the first 3 at the start of the second half.
Hernandez doing what he couldn't do in that first half, putting the ball in the back of the net there. Fantastic from Wollongong Wolves. I said the first 10 minutes is going to be critical, but they've done it even quicker within that first 5 minutes of resuming that second half. They've put huge pressure on Marconi now. No doubt worry heads will be on the sideline in the Marconi camp.
How do they respond now? This is not just first place in the balance, but their position in the quarterfinal altogether. We knew this was a chance. We thought it might be impossible. Wollongong have stared down the task and might just end up being equal to it. Can they strike in double quick time towards Scott? Over the head of Jake True, who was looking to clear. Duarte. Marcio Vecchio. Scott really the only one to aim for in there, but the crowd making their voices heard really for the first time this afternoon. Their team have got them believing, and why not? Swivel flies into the challenge on Duarte. And it will be a Marconi throw as well, much to the displeasure of the supporters.
Interesting to know what's going through the thought process of Peter Sakanis and staff.
It's the thought to go and get a, easier said than done, but that could put just a real stop to everything that is building at the minute. If they can find a way through Wollongong's defence, which has not been the most sturdy over the course of this championship so far.
Personally, I think they need to regain their composure, get their compactness back, because they're so far apart from each other, especially in transition. Those things need to be addressed, and that will then frustrate Wollongong Wolves, and that will create opportunities for themselves.
Geordie Swivel is doing a lot of grunt work up front without a lot of support in the early stages of this second half. The changes made by Luke Wilkshire have borne fruit. As the wind returns and that ball just holds up under Tasma Kudis.
Wow, look at that ball just spin back off Danzo. That's how strong this wind is still, but nevertheless, great to have Lockie Scott out there when the ball's getting held up. Probably the best striker in terms of getting the ball under control with his back to goal, bringing players into the game.
Gorgeous turn from Madden there, and his run forward was brought to an abrupt end by Lockie Griffiths. Sliding in and not taking enough of the ball for the referee's liking.
Interesting to see what Wollongong decide to do here. They're still a fair way out from goal, and with the wind in their faces, maybe a rehearsed set move might be the play here.
Tell you what, he's got a lot of the ball there, Lockie Scott. He might feel unlucky, or whether the free kick was blown for the initial challenge from Vella. Either way, Wollongong have another route towards goal.
Looks like Olsen's measuring up.
It's a long way out. It takes something spectacular to beat Hilton from that range.
Or might just put it in the mixer.
We've seen so many unexpected outcomes so far today, though. You wouldn't put it past him. He does go the short option. Griffiths well positioned. Marcio Vecchio has his effort blocked by Busak. It's all those half-time statistics with Josh and Scotty at the break. 10 strikes apiece fired towards either goal. Looking as though we're going to continue at that same rate. It's been like a futsal game at different stages. Madden turning in midfield has kept a cooler head than most out there today. Couldn't flick that ball over the top, but the return ends up right on his chest. Lays it off for Olsen. Now Hernandez, scorer of that early goal in the second half. Bernie winning the challenge, but not the throw. Now Marconi being pegged back in their own half as Wollongong chase a further 3 goals, which would take them above today's opposition and through to the quarterfinals of the Australian Championship. The most unlikely of turnarounds if they can manage it. Nice switch out to this right-hand side where Russell's waiting. Curling that ball back in the wind. Olsen! Very good save from Hilton, who denies the Wolves striker his second of the afternoon. Gorgeous ball from Tate Russell, which nearly unpicked the Marconi defence again.
It's a lovely cross into the box to find Olsen. And a fantastic save from Jimmy Hilton.
And the resulting corner is fired in. Hernandez had his foot too close to the head of Tasmurda Kudis. Danger averted for now.
Well, what a game we have here.
First flashy piece of goalkeeping. He's been the goalkeeper of the tournament so far, James Hilton, but hasn't been helped much by his defence today. Standing up when they most needed him on that occasion. To deny Nick Olsen. Player has put himself in the shot window for a step up to a higher level over the course of the New South Wales League competition, where he anchored the stingiest defence in the league, didn't miss a minute. He's right amongst the battle today. Nice little flick on from Swibble, which has just rolled beyond the reach of Damien Sekenis. And continues to sweep across the south coast. Kanazumi right into that breeze, which played into the hands of Bayless. Busak. His way out of trouble. Lovely spin from Harry van der Sarg. He might look to go himself or slide in Geordie Swibble. Plays it across the face of goal. Ryan well positioned. Judged the cross well. Also, always an uncomfortable position for a defender, facing back towards your own goal. Dealt with that nicely.
So we might have a change coming in here.
Be the first of the afternoon, and he has gone to the big guns. Peter Sekenis. Marko Jesic standing in the foreground of that picture in front of Franco Maya. Both have been starters in all 5 games so far and now called upon to try and rescue their sides from the hole they found themselves in. End of the road for Geordie Swibble. Making his way off at the near sides, and Jake True getting his first starts of the tournament has his afternoon brought to a close just shy of the hour mark. There's both like for like changes. Jesic will now partner Damien Sekenis up front, with Maya more than likely going to the right wing. Coney hoping for a bit of an added attacking thrust, and it might come immediately. The ball was played towards Jesic. Madden screening in front of his defence. So leaving his header short, and Scott managing to scrap it in behind for Olsen. He's got runners with him. One of them is Massimo Vecchio, looking to square the ball up. It was the right option in the circumstances, and it's good enough for a Wollongong corner, which is taken short and quick. And then just the decision making of Flynn Madden. Not quite the best. His team have been bailed out by winning a throw though. Still take a very brave judge to predict what we're going to see over the final half hour. Marconi looking safe enough in second spot, but another goal could change all that for Wollongong.
I'm liking how Wollongong is not playing desperate football to try and get in another goal.
The ball goes long.
Because that can lead to a little bit more, I guess, forced passes that can turn over possession, and if it becomes way too transitional, then you're more likely to even concede, which will be obviously devastating towards their cause.
Interesting that Meyer and Jesic have both been right in amongst the defensive work in the early stages. Meyer just losing his footing as he tried to control that ball. Poor throw from Duarte, straight to the feet of Vela. And so Kenneth started in an offside position amongst all that. There have been different moments of this game, Perko, where players have not performed to the standard that they've set themselves over the course of 2025. The end of a long season, of course, but with so much on the line, there'd be players from both sets of coaches that will be looking to improve on their performances should they get through to next week. So Kenneth laying it off. Oh, and then a heavy challenge from Duarte. Big appeals for a penalty turned away by the referee as Meyer hit the deck. Duarte getting enough of the football. Risky challenge right on the edge of his area. It might have got his team out though. Scott stepping on the football. He of all people has been so impressive today. And now Jesic might be off the shoulder. See this decision again, picture in picture. Both meeting the ball at a similar moment.
Very risky challenge indeed, that one by Duarte. Could have went either way, that decision potentially.
And I'd say, depending on which team you're supporting, you have a very different view on whether that should have been given or not. Meyer stretching and winning enough of the ball against Duarte again, and he's continued his run forward. The ball from Jesic took him a little wide. It's a left footer, the Uruguayan, so he'll be looking to get on that side of his body. Took a deflection off Duarte, also of Uruguayan heritage, funnily enough. Day ahead of the anniversary of that very famous game, including that nation. It was broadcast on this very network.
Nice little play by Wollongong Wolves there as they look to lead to break out again.
Nice ball from Olsen. Marcio Vecchio, not for the first time today, off the shoulder. And Bernie, who has got pace to burn, equivalent to any winger in the competition, back quickly in cover and timing the challenge to perfection as well.
It's a nice little football there by Wollongong Wolves to get out of their defensive zone into the midfield zone and creating an opportunity in the final third. Need a little bit more of that from the Wolves to try and create enough opportunities to make up the difference for them to progress in this tournament.
Holding up beautifully for Hernandez, and a good challenge from Bernie. Griffiths crying for a decision to go Marconi's way. Eric Saber, as he has done for most of the afternoon, just waving away the protests. To think what might have been for Wollongong had they been able to find a performance like this before the final round of the group stage. Still not all dead and buried. 3 goals away from qualification to the quarterfinals. That corner's not going to help them on their way though. Madden sliding at the feet of Meyer, and with Busek the only player forward. This time the referee happy to stop play and give Marconi a pressure relieving free kick. And a couple of these challenges going in from behind players, that time Madden getting none of the ball whatsoever. Haven't seen a booking yet today. probably just short of the mark for that.
Yeah, no two drastic challenges that's happened so far in this game from my memory. I think the referees handled the game well so far.
Has it spoken to a bit of a cautiousness from both sets of players? Thinking about next week from a Marconi perspective, and Wollongong, to their credit, have been so focused on just trying to build attack after attack and put pressure on their opposition.
Yeah, I think Marconi's been a little bit shocked to then think about potentially giving away fouls, and a lot of the times they've had to make those decisions in the defensive third where it can be in and around the box where you don't want to dive in and give away a penalty. So a lot of those Wollongong's attacks has been in behind the Marconi defence. If it's been into feet, then you're more than likely to give away a tactical foul as such. But we've got an opportunity for Marconi here into the wind with the in-swinger.
First test for Solsky from this sort of situation during the second half, with this wind blowing a gale back in towards him. Maya went the flat option, holds up, flicked on by Griffiths, didn't quite fall at the feet of Jesic or Murdakoudis.
On those situations, got to be really careful of Jesic. He's been known in the past to pester the goalkeeper and get in his way. Marconi's scored a couple of goals, more than a few goals over the years, with him creating problems for the defence in those situations. So Wollongong got to be especially concerned about that, given the in-swingers from the wind in these situations.
Would I be right in saying a couple of those occasions were at Christie Park this season, earlier in the year?
Well, I wasn't there for the...
Seem to remember a couple of in-swinging set pieces that ended up in the back of the net that day.
The one that I remember even more so is the one from the previous season at Marconi Stadium, where gets him right in front of the keeper.
They've got defending to do. Hernandez took it early, perhaps speaking to the increased confidence that he's playing with. Offered a hand in apology, but I think he was well within his rights on that occasion to go for goal.
It's interesting, given the strength of the wind against Wollongong, they're still finding ways to get in behind the Marconi defence. Something that will definitely be concerning Peter Sekenis.
It's been a theme of the afternoon in its entirety. 25 minutes to play. Wollongong's time is quickly running out. They got the early goal at the start of the second half to just give this game a little bit more interest. But Marconi have settled again. Although every time we seem to have said that this afternoon, they've kicked away and managed to score another. Marconi looking to get their first of the afternoon. Jasic's influence has been notable, just providing a bit of a cooler head out there that hadn't been amongst the initial franticness.
Definitely an experienced campaigner that you want to have out on the pitch given these circumstances.
36 years of age, the Marconi skipper. Part of the promotion campaign all the way back in 2017. Rode that all the way to a championship. And a grand final victory against Rockdale Illendon in 2024. Which the bulk of this side were part of. And is down under the challenge of Griffiths. One of the friendliest off the field you'll meet, Lockie, but not one to shy away from a physical duel once he crosses the white line.
Looks like the first time Wollongong's going to go to their bench shortly. A couple of players on the sidelines getting ready to get into the action.
Maya trying something inventive, but it's all ended in the gloves of the Wollongong goalkeeper. Been a while since they've kept a clean sheet. Wollongong haven't had one in 9 games, haven't managed one across the entirety of this Australian Championship. Be a nice little feather in Solsky's cap if they're able to see that out today, regardless of what happens down the other end. Bayless not able to keep that ball in play as he searched down the line for Damien Sekenis, and we're going to get our second lot of changes of this second half. Luke Wilkshire going to a couple of his well, one newer stars, and one of the most familiar names around on the south coast. Flynn Madden and Seb Duarte brought off. Marcus Beattie and Kazuya Yamamura, a one-time Japanese international. Brought on to try and give this team some attacking thrust in the closing stages. 3 more goals needed. We'll keep reminding you for Wollongong to jump Marconi into that final quarter-final qualifying position. Marcio Vecchio lining up and Griffiths laying out to make sure the ball didn't make its way towards goal. Maya scrapping the ball clear. Heavy touch from Ryan, who goes scything through Damien Sekenis, and he might have ended up worse for wear amongst all of that. It was a desperate piece of defending after a shoddy first touch. And Sekenis landed right on his head. Banri Kanaizumi straight over and aware of the danger. Peter Sekenis looking on through the crowds. Damien looks to have come out of that all right. He just leaned in to try and protect the ball, was brought off his feet, and because of the shoulder being right parallel with the head, it has caught Dylan Ryan in a very unfortunate position indeed. The substitutions have started. The obvious replacement down there is Harry Bunel. This gives us a chance to have a look at some of the chances spurned by Wollongong over the course of the day. It really would have brought us close to the 6 goals that they needed to jump Marconi this afternoon. Sebastian Hernandez early. Another one where he went through one-on-one. Heroic piece of defending from Tas Murtakudis on that occasion, after the ball was slit past James Hilton. See the appreciation the goalkeeper had for his defender there. Luke Wilkshire happy to see his central defender back on his feet. Free kick has gone Marconi's way though, so they want Ryan back sooner rather than later. He's not going to be allowed to take the field before this free kick is taken though, so Wollongong are defending with 10. Not to say Marconi have thrown a whole heap of numbers forward. Slowly joining in the attack. Maya sort of puts his arms up in the air and just hoists one in towards Murtakudis. Kept the ball from going behind. And Banri Kanaizumi is able to make his way out of trouble. Olsen leaving it short for Scott. He's cutting a bit of a tired figure up front as this second half wears on. Did manage to get to that ball though and feed Olsen. This is his best position, coming off the right. Look to deliver rather than shoot. He stands it up to the back post now. Hernandez. The first touch for Marcus Beattie since coming on as Wollongong recycle possession. Hernandez. Russell playing it through just out of the reach of Lockie Scott, and Hilton dives gratefully on the football.
Good idea there by Russell Tate, playing that pass into Lockie Scott, but unfortunately just a little bit too heavy for Lockie Scott to get onto it.
Just wonder how desperate Marconi are. 20 minutes to go. Unlikely that they can turn this deficit around. Haven't gone looking for goals even with the changes. Just played what's in front of them in the second half, which, despite copping that early goal, has not exactly come in the flurry of chances that seemed to eventuate for Wollongong in the first half. Have managed to stem the flow somewhat.
Now, might be the wind, but I definitely do see a more compactness to Marconi since those changes have been made, but which will definitely alleviate the opportunities that Wollongong can create.
Nice ball for Vella from Maya, Vella for Maya, who lines up and pulls his efforts down behind Solski's goal. Has it eased up down there at all, Adrian, or is the wind still blowing as heavily as it was at the start of this game on the south coast?
No, the wind's still very strong. As anyone who grew up in the Illawarra, like myself, and played sport down here or attended any sporting events at Wynn Stadium knows that the breeze, the southerly buster, as they use in the Sydney Hobart. But no, it's always been a strong breeze down here. We're a few k's from the ocean, but it's always strong breezes, especially when you've got open pasture like you do here at Collegiate Sports Centre, where there's not much coverage of trees at the other side. And I've spoken into existence 2 goals, and I'm about to speak into existence of another one, I think.
As Olsen has the shot and the rebound's there. Scott off the line. Was it over the line? Yes. A 4th for Wollongong. Unbelievable. Lockie Scott with a brace. A ball fired over the top. We spoke about the joy Wollongong are having in that area. A real scrap for their 4th of the afternoon, but they'll count it as precious as any of the previous. And Marconi do not know what has hit them today. Bayless on the line, but he couldn't keep it out. And a 5th goal of the championship for Lachlan Scott. Another skipper's strike.
What a game we have on here now. Marconi trying to settle things down, but not really going after the game has really costed him now. The pressure is building against Marconi. The momentum, even though the wind is going in a different direction, the momentum is still going to the Wolves. And it's going to be a very, very interesting 17 minutes or so that we have left of normal time, as Wollongong tried to do the impossible to the improbable to the potential.
Well said. Well said. 17 minutes to go, and suddenly some fingernails from the Marconi dugout are really being dug into. As that one swung in towards Hilton, who claims in front of his front post. A smile on his face, but it might be a nervous one as much as anything else. A goal down the other end could ruin all the fun, but Marconi haven't come close in this second half. Daniel Solski's largely been a bystander to the second half's action. We talked about that grand final comeback more than 2 decades ago, and the place that holds in this club's history. They could be writing a very similar chapter here this afternoon if they can go on with things, but that ball just missing the mark from another substitution. Dylan King has found his way onto the pitch, the 18-year-old, replacing Sebastian Hernandez, who you can see in shot there.
This game's become a psychological game now. Wollongong have put themselves into a position where they can definitely have a chance of progressing now, and Marconi would have never ever envisaged that 75 minutes into the game that they will be down 4-0. So now it's how do they change this momentum, which they thought would have shifted in the second half with the wind, but it hasn't.
So Kenneth's playing that one in towards Meyer. Solski well positioned and managed to hold on to the shot as well, crucially, because there were Marconi players close in attendance, and then Meyer goes flying into Marcio Vecchio and concedes the free kick. As much ball in play as possible now needed for the hosts. By far their best performance of the championship. Still 2 short of what they'll count as a winning margin though. King knocking the ball in behind, searching for Beattie, who was once a young startlet himself, coming through a first team coached by Luke Wilkshire. The next generation looking to take up the mantle as King does here. Slaloming away from Griffiths, but the experienced Marconi man got the ball and then turned it over as he lost his footing. And a couple of players have done that, and yes, it just wrestles over Lockie Scott, who wasn't too keen with his treatment either. And now the 2 skippers exchange words. Terrific pictures captured there. Oh, the intensity just ease out of the situation slowly. He wasn't keen to let him go, was he, Marconi's number 10?
Definitely tensions are creeping up. The intensity as we're getting to the tail end of this game. Marconi trying to hold on.
Olsen dinks this one in towards Ryan. It's a good effort. And Jesic was brave getting across in cover to make sure the strike couldn't be a clean one.
Marconi trying to hold down, which is a strange statement to make when they're 4-0 down. But they're trying to hold on to this position on the table where they get to progress into the next round. Whilst Wollongong have a nothing to lose mentality, nothing to lose attitude, and have really taken the game to Marconi.
Hilton taking his time over another set piece. Marconi will be keen to stretch this one out for as long as is possible. Ball dinked over the top and it's going to make its way out to play. Any more changes coming, Adrian, or can we expect the status quo to stay as Wollongong chase these further 2 goals?
I think I think there's a sub coming up here. I think young Noah Anderson might be coming on. I can't see from my vantage point. I'm so far away. I can't believe what's happened here. It's crazy. Well, Paul Reed's goal in the 2000 NSL Grand Final came in the 89th minute. We've got another 12 here to get the equaliser to what they need, which is the 6 goal, the magical 6 goals. You've crossed to me 3 times today, 4 times today. 3 of those have resulted in goals. So luckily here, I don't think Daniel Solsky is going to score directly from a goal kick. But I don't have tonight's lotto numbers, and I'm not a horse whisperer. But I feel like I'm a goal whisperer today, because every time, the last time, I just say there's a goal going in. So I think we're safe now. I'm going to stop talking because I don't want to spoil another one, but who knows?
Take Russell bringing it forward. Thank you, Adrian.
That's what brings the goals. Keep going.
That's right. It has been that sort of day. Just have not been able to predict what will happen next at any stage whatsoever. I think anyone who predicted a 4-0 Wollongong win today would have been thought as dreamers themselves. Well, they might be looking for something just a bit more special. 10 minutes to go. Marconi have just not been able to stem the tide for any length of time whatsoever. The slight down period in the middle of this second half, but second goal from Lachlan Scott. His goals have bookended this Wollongong performance to this point. Anderson, who scored the 3rd of Marconi's in the return fixture at Marconi Stadium earlier in the year. He's just busting past players. Eventually Yamamura holding him up and able to see the ball over the byline.
Experienced campaigner there. Yamamura just guiding the ball over the byline. As we see Wollongong playing a little bit more direct now. Trying to get the ball forward. Trying to reduce this deficit one goal further and give him a fighting chance as we enter the final 10 minutes of normal time.
I have dealt with the wild conditions, the better of the 2 teams today, to the point where it has given them a 4-0 lead. Quite remarkable. Ryan looking for the 1-2. That's fans trying to drive them forwards and give us a real grandstand finish. 10 minutes to find 2 goals. Russell not able to keep it in Wollongong's attacking half, and you do wonder just how much legs those Wolves have still got. Lovely switch from Busek, right on the money for Maya. Might look to fire in his own ball towards Jesic. Across the face of Solsky's goal. And safely out of play. Still only the 1 save the Wollongong goalkeeper has been forced into during this second half. The most remarkable thing about this is Marconi's defence does not lend itself to copping this many goals in single games. Jesic fires early, trying to catch out the Wolves goalkeeper. Just once they copped 5 in the New South Wales League season. That was against Spirit FC, the eventual premiers.
It's been pretty good from Marconi in the sense that they don't look like they're panicking. They're just going about their business, knowing they're still in front, which is the best thing to do at this stage.
We've got more defending to do here as Olsen makes his way forward. Space for Tate Russell, who couldn't write his name into the Wolves list of heroes on this Saturday afternoon. Such an attacking threat during his time in the A-League, despite spending most of it as a fullback. Not able to measure his strike when the moment demanded it. Olsen again ducking and weaving between Marconi players. He has been an absolute handful for them today. His standout performance of the championship, I think it's fair to say, Perko.
Absolutely. He's been, every time he's got on the ball, he's looked dangerous. He's looking to get into a bit of space, whether that be in behind or in between lines, looking to link up with Lockie Scott, something that they've done so well throughout the NPL season. As we can see here, they're combining once again.
Bella just taking it off Scott's toe, but only as far as Ryan, and the ball in behind might unlock their defence again. Marcio Vecchio as Hilton bails out Marconi.
Another crucial save there from Hilton, coming off his line, reducing the space for the attacker to operate there.
Now it's King trying to find his way in behind the Marconi defence. Griffiths clearing the danger. That ball in behind has borne fruit all day long. And Hilton has been forced into two very good saves in the second half. Without him, who knows where Marconi might be. The Stallions happy to sit here now and ask Wollongong to break them down, which they're trying to do nicely. Beatty's sprung the offside track. How's the delivery? It hangs up in the wind. Hilton had front position. He's been as busy as he has been all season, really. The pressure that Wollongong have put on his goal, there was nothing clever about what he was trying to do from that bit of distribution. Just fire it up the other end. Suck a precious few seconds more off the clock. Kanaizumi returns the favour, trying to judge it for Olsen. Gorgeous first touch. Bayless, to his credit, stood up. But it's a Wolves attacking throw.
It's back to Tate.
They'll try and build from the back with Ryan. Might look to line up himself here. Didn't catch that ball as sweetly as he would have liked. Has a second bite. Russell! 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 Wollongong have 5 with 5 to play.
Marconi looking shell-shocked here, not anticipating any ball, not getting first to the ball, not putting bodies on the line, just backpedaling, creating this opportunity for Wollongong Wolves. And wow, what a finish we've got on our hands. Wollongong have all that it takes to get this 6th and final crucial goal. What is going to be the response from Marconi Stallions?
I cannot believe what we are witnessing here. If you wrote it, film companies wouldn't buy it because they wouldn't believe it. Too improbable, impossible. Nothing to lose, were the words of Alex Marcio Vecchio during the week. Haven't his team played like that? There have been some very special chapters in Wollongong footballing history. This would be right amongst the very top.
Now, as we enter this last phase of 4 minutes plus added time, we're going to see, obviously, Wollongong Wolves throw numbers forward. It's going to be interesting to see what Peter Sekenis does with his formation, with his tactics in these final minutes. As you can see, looking very upset on the sideline. But it'll be interesting to see if they go to a back 5, employ a deeper block, or they're going to continue to press. They're potentially looking at another substitution here. Drusic looks like they're coming on. Maybe going back to a back 5, which is probably not a bad idea to see out this game.
It has continued to twist and turn, and every single play and moment like this has gone in the host's favour. How about the first touch and the composure?
Fantastic there by Russell Tate, showing his experience there with his composure to put Wollongong Wolves in a really fantastic situation entering this final phase. Now, given that there's going to be a change here from Marconi, they still need to get pressure on the ball, make it difficult for Wollongong Wolves. Otherwise, they're just inviting pressure into their own goal mouth.
2 goals to Lockie Scott, 1 to Nick Olsen, 1 to Sebastian Hernandez, and the latest to Tate Russell has brought them right to the brink of qualification to the quarterfinals.
Again,
1 more goal needed.
Again, midfielders facing forwards, having time and space on the ball to create. Fantastic there to get possession here from Marconi Stallions.
Noah Anderson running his way out of trouble, showing composure beyond his years.
And a goal here could just ruin Wollongong Wolves' hearts in terms of their aspirations of progressing.
Bayless, as they look to slow the tempo. Vela, overhitting the switch, badly so.
Such a poor decision and poor execution of an intention, but it gives Peter Sekenis the opportunity now to make this last substitution.
And it's a very
Busek
defensive
comes
one.
off, a winger coming off for a central defender, getting a little bit more height and presence in that back line. Be interesting to see how they shape up with this change. Who's going to defend out wide? I would probably suggest it might be King. No, sorry, it might be Jesic or Anderson. Anderson looks like he's going out wide into Busek's role as Juricic makes his way to make a back 3 or a back 5 if you like.
Here we go. A massive couple of minutes coming up. Very interested to see how much added time there is as Ryan just fires the ball over the touchline. Tension getting to even their most experienced.
Seemed like a very, very tired pass there.
Sapping playing in these sorts of conditions, and then Ryan compounds the error by fouling Jesic.
Experienced by Jesic there. Just inviting the contact. As soon as he feels the contact, going to ground. Very, very experienced campaigner. Just sucking the time out of Wollongong Wolves. Off the ball.
Maya almost just looking for options, but I think they might be content to just fire the ball down the other end. You can see Luke Wilkshire in shot now, asking Eric Saba how long Marconi have got to take this, and that's exactly what Maya does. Marconi forced to be negative because of the way this game has played out, because of the madness, because of how calm Wollongong have kept to this point. Knowleston misplacing a pass for the first time this afternoon. Yamamura recycling possession. 6 minutes to find a 6th goal. Is it an omen?
Sitting very, very deep here, Marconi. Wollongong in comfortable possession in the opposition half.
Kanaizumi fires it forwards. Griffiths winning the initial header. King returns it for beating. It's towards Scott, not claimed by Hilton. Eventually away by Murder-Kudis. And a free kick blown by Eric Saba for the challenge on the Stallions goalkeeper.
Marconi need to get pressure on this ball so those balls into the box come to a minimum. Once they've got a back 5, they still want to get pressure on the ball as soon as the ball enters their own half. Otherwise, you're just inviting these moments to happen more and more occasionally.
You see Juricic, he was just trying to ease Scott out of the way. The Wolves skipper wasn't having any of that. Now Hilton's going to become public enemy number 1, and more than that, it's going to be the first booking of the game.
Don't mind that all at this stage of the game. Just trying to wind away the seconds.
An offside flag up against Franco Maya. Ill discipline has riddled this Marconi display. This is the latest example. How many shots do Wollongong have left to fire? A ball held up in the wind. Yamamura took it on. in favour of Beattie. Bit behind where they needed it. Russell with another tidy first touch. His second didn't quite match it. And Van der Sar can burst clear. Ryan intercepts. Danzo. Olsen trying to weave his way through, and then King is bundled over by Jesic, inviting further pressure, this time from the set piece.
Tension's getting higher. You can feel the tension in the air, or in the breeze, if you like. And another moment that Marconi need to defend.
Hasn't this situation snuck up on them today?
And they're defending very, very deep here. Very interesting how deep they are set up here.
Olsen's going to have to get his radar right into the wind. Swinging very much away from James Hilton. Drives it lowish. Away by Murdakudis. Marcio Vecchio waiting. Another lobbed ball over the top. Might fall for Danzo. Scrapped clear by Griffiths. Back out to the free kick taker. Olsen, header there! Hilton on his line. And the flag was up in any case against Yamamura. Marconi survive another big scare.
Yeah, setting up that defensive line on that set piece, just invited pressure onto Hilton. And then the second phase of play, they're already deep, so they can't get out. And that ball is just invited into their 6-yard box.
Hilton managed to stand up and make the save, not to be knowing that the flag was already up. And he celebrated like he'd scored the winner. Beattie has it taken off him by Meyer. Gorgeous bit of skill. And Jesic is just going to fire it forward again, losing his footing. Marconi have given up all pretenses of trying to play with the ball. Into the 4th minute of stoppage time. Might see even more than the allotted 6 at the end of this game. One more goal and Wollongong will have completed the most dramatic performance to claim their place in the quarterfinals. Marconi have almost procrastinated their defensive performance to the very last moment. Kanaizumi through the winds. Griffiths can only head backwards, and Scott will be happy to see it pass behind for a Wollongong corner. The crowd rise. And here comes Solski. Why not?
They're all up now. Wollongong Wolves. The corner's about to be delivered.
It's been
numbers in the box.
It's been that sort of afternoon. Marcio Vecchio takes. Solski was being held. It's fallen to Ryan at the back post. Manages to stick it back in for Russell. And Kanaizumi! Was that the moment for Wollongong? Murdakudis was sure somebody was offside amongst it all, but it fell to their central defender, who would have been the most unlikely hero, and he couldn't snatch the opportunity as he dived with his head.
Wow.
Hard to know in the moment, but if he goes with his foot, Lachlan Scott is standing right behind him.
So uncharacteristic of Marconi defending and having so many players, red shirts free in the box. Unbelievable. But here we go again.
Olsen was looking to get there. The free kick's been blown against Noah Anderson for his challenge on Tate Russell. Kanaizumi again with one of those clip deliveries. It's fallen at King's feet. Yamamura didn't have the power to trouble Hilton. And he grasps onto another one gratefully. Jesic herring after this. The wind will carry it away from him. It's down the right end for Marconi. Solski almost had the replacement football before the other one had passed out of play. Sekenis barking instructions at the edge of his technical area. All but Anderson behind the ball. Ball held up nicely for Griffiths, and Meyer can run clear. Marcio Vecchio's got the pace to stay with him. Didn't challenge fairly, in the opinion of the referee. And that might just be that. Eric Saba points to his watch again, indicating that every one of these seconds that Marconi takes to get the ball back in play will be added on.
Going to the corner flag here.
Finally they do. And Maya can't keep the ball in play.
It's overhit under the conditions.
Do they have time to get it forward one last time?
This is better from Marconi, putting pressure on the ball, not allowing Wollongong easy meters to come up the field.
Solski goes short. Ryan wanted him to go long. Now he does himself. Jurisic, the only jumper. Ball falls to the feet of Danzo.
Last person you want facing forwards.
Olsen to the byline and a last Wollongong corner. Surely. Olsen not wasting a second. Solski forward again.
A lot of tall timber in there.
Magnificent drama, and Eric Saba has stopped things, I think, to go and have a word to one of the benches. And it's a red card that's about to be shown to one of the coaching staff. That'll be a postscript. You can see what Julian Monge thinks of it all.
Goalkeeper coach of Marconi Stallions, Peter Sestak, showing the red card.
Chance here, King looking to get out of his own end, and Eric Saba finally brings things to a close. Well, Wollongong gave it the best shake of the sauce bottle that they could have. Marconi pushed right to the brink and made to work all the way for their spot in the quarterfinals. A disappointing display down at Collegians. They won't care about that though. They have finally, belatedly, booked their place in the last eight. Not before a major scare. Wollongong put in their best display in their final game of the championship. 5 past the Stallions, but it is not enough. And it's finished on the south coast in quite a dramatic round 6 clash. Wollongong Wolves 5, Marconi Stallions 0.
A white knuckle finish at Collegians. Marconi given the fright of their lives as Wollongong take them to the brink. We're going to break it down on the other side. Stay with us. Wollongong Wolves fall heartbreakingly short of the comeback of all comebacks. They needed 6, they got 5. Marconi given the fright of their lives in the final match day of the Australian Championship in Group B. Josh Parrish here with Scott McDonald. Scott, what have we just seen?
Incredible scenes. You know, absolutely. We talked about at halftime. Could they potentially be a comeback on the trail? They needed that early goal in the second half. That's exactly what they got. Obviously, it started early on in the game here. Madden getting all the way through. Palmed out. Lockie Scott getting his 4th of the competition there to make it 1-0. And then Danzo making a lovely run in behind just before halftime. Olsen here. Mudakudis, I don't know what he's doing. Some of the defending today was absolute nightmare stuff for Marconi. They'll look back at this and not want to, really. And then the third one just after halftime. Hernandez getting on the score sheet. And the pressure was on and it was game on from there on in. We can see that here. Olsen gets the 4th one here. Finally comes back to Lockie Scott. We're saying goal, no, finally. And it was the correct decision. You have to say linesman was bang on the money for that to make it 4. And then this one, out of the blue, Tate Russell, fullback.
Incredible.
In you go, off the chest, left foot volley, thank you very much. And it all came down to this in the 94th minute. Can Naizumi, all he needs to do is put his foot on it.
All he needs to do is leave it because Lockie Scott is waiting to tap it in for his hat-trick.
It's incredible scenes. And you know what? They look at that, they will be so gutted and thinking they should have gone through today.
Incredible. Let's go down to Lachlan Scott, who's with Adrian Archuli.
I'm here with Wollongong Wolves captain Lockie Scott after probably one of the most craziest, nuts games of football I've ever watched. Lockie, what was it like to be a part of?
Oh, mate, just like it's a weird feeling, you know, like disappointed not to be going through, but you can't sort of be disappointed after a performance like that. You know, we came out and gave everything that we had, and just that spark and that energy, everyone just felt like I just wish could have gone on a little bit longer.
It's crazy, eh? You win a game 5-0 and you walk off deflated almost because you know what was there. But just talk us about how you just kept up that belief the whole game. It just kept going and going and going.
That's just what we talked about at training all week, you know, just that belief, energy. That's sort of what we were going off, and I think we came out there right off the first half and just gave it to them, you know what I mean? We're straight into them, we're winning second balls, we're running in behind, and it was just one of those days for us. We were connected and we had everything going. It's just we were 1 goal short.
Does it just give you hope for the future, though? Like, I know it's frustrating because goal difference is really 1 goal's kept you out, but knowing that what this team could achieve moving forward.
Definitely, and we probably let ourselves down at the start of the tournament, you know, giving away silly goals in games like that, and it's come back to haunt us, but definitely we can take what we've done in the last 2 games has been really positive, and obviously going into next year we can keep building on that.
Well, the Wolves love a good comeback. Unfortunately, they couldn't just quite complete it, but a 5-0 win nonetheless.
Lachlan Scott beaming with pride and absolutely gutted. Let's see what the result has done to the table today. It's Heidelberg United who've wrapped up top spot even before they kick a ball tomorrow against South Hobart. Marconi squeaked through on goal difference. 1 more from the Wolves would have done it, but Marconi will await the winner of Group D in the quarter-final. I mean, big games coming up tomorrow and a lot riding on these ones, especially Metro Stars versus Sydney United. Metro Stars have to win to keep their hopes alive of progression. Northwest Sydney Spirit can go through with a win away at Canberra, Croatia, and West Harpia versus Bayswater for top spot. Bayswater could even drop out. Thank you for joining us on a hectic Super Saturday. It's been marvellous having your company, Scott McDonald. What an afternoon of football. It finishes Wollongong Wolves 5, Marconi Stallions 0.